welcome to the program, sir. And I'd go straight to the point. There's one of your comments which is, obviously you are familiar now doing the rounds, essentially about how the Pakistani military, the Pakistani state, and particularly at the time of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, was involved in training and supporting proxy elements, militants, etc. What led you to point fingers in that direction? I mean, obviously you at the helm of affairs was privy to information that many of us didn't have. So what was really, what got you to make those assertions?
Well, no, I think it has been misperceived. Whatever I said, this was to a German interview.
Right.
Yes, but I didn't say that. People have perceived it to me, meaning that I was talking of my own period, that I was doing that, being in charge of the government, and I'm encouraging Mujahideen and training them and sending them into, arming them and sending them into India, into what we call IHK, Indian Held Kashmir. I was talking of the period of 90s, the decade of 90s, where I was not on the scene. And secondly, I didn't say that they've been training. In fact, I have always said that these Mujahideen groups sprung up on their own because of great public sympathy, tremendous public sympathy. So therefore they sprung up themselves, and there was thousands of volunteers prepared to go into Kashmir and fight.
And there was just public sympathy, there was no role of the military or the establishment in training, arming, or at least
never
guiding
said that.
them?
I never said that at all. Even in this interview I never said that. Because there was great public sympathy and there was no requirement of anybody else to assist in that. People were prepared themselves to...
Why is it, sir, that particularly you was wanting to look beyond the stated line that existed?
No, I think that's not the case. There were new elements which got introduced in the environment. As far as Kashmir was concerned, purely the Kashmir freedom struggle, as I said, a lot of Mujahideen groups came up and they had great public support.
But clearly as army chief and then as president, you were aware that they were operating on the border with India?
Everyone was aware that they were operating, but they had great public sympathy, as I said. The new element that was introduced was the 9/11. Now 9/11, and then emerged the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. All this was happening in the decade of 90s also. So its impact where the Mujahideen got mixed up with the Taliban, and after 9/11 they got more mixed up. And then there was elements who were against my decision of joining the coalition. And therefore they turned their guns inwards towards inside Pakistan.
But some of the people close to you have been on record to say that you always saw a role for the Taliban in Afghanistan, pre-9/11, post-9/11, and then your successor, General Kayani, has been on record to suggest that the Taliban, some of the leadership, especially Mr. Haqqani, would be seen as strategic assets. Now, I mean, what is the merit in that view?
Not at all. Pre-9/11, yes indeed. Pre-9/11, the Taliban were holding 90% of Afghanistan. They were Pashtun, ethnic Pashtuns, having historical, geographic, religious, cultural linkages with Pashtuns on our side in Balochistan and the frontier province. So therefore, certainly every government in the 90s and beyond, after 95 when Taliban came into being, including myself, had a mission there. We were dealing with them. We had diplomatic relations with them. But then post 9/11, now this was a different situation. There was a terrorist attack on the World Trade Center, and these Taliban, now there was a war against the Taliban.
You have also been on record to say, sir, that if the Taliban is now not dealt with firmly, they could then, and the US and NATO withdrawal from Afghanistan could lead to the Taliban hounding them in Western capitals and the US. Now, could you substantiate on that further, sir?
Not the Taliban. I've been talking of Al-Qaeda.
Right.
Al-Qaeda is, and Al-Qaeda or Taliban is not a monolith. So we should understand that. Absolutely. There is no one commander commanding all Al-Qaeda in the whole world. There are different factions. There is an AQAP, Al-Qaeda in Arab Peninsula, based around Somalia and Yemen. Then there is Aqim, Al-Qaeda in Islamic Maghreb, based around Algeria and Mali. Then, of course, there is ETIM, Uzbek Islamic Movement, etc. All these are developing a nexus. And that is what is happening, and we should guard against that.
What is your, I will be cutting, sir, because of the constraints of time, but what is your view when even the former British Prime Minister has been on record to say that 70% of extremist elements do come out of AFPAC region and even Pakistan's formal territory? What is your view? What would you be a counter to that? I mean, is there merit in that kind of a view?
Well, the statement of the Prime Minister in India against Pakistan was rather undiplomatic, and I don't subscribe to that view at all. There is a lot of complexity in the whole situation, which he needs to understand and not blame Pakistan alone.
So to go directly now to the Kashmir issue, because you've been on record to say again that what you would do as a country for your interest, you know, there is a certain amount you are entitled to do. I think there was a view that you were one person who were looking beyond the stated line on Kashmir. You wanted to move beyond UN resolutions on Kashmir. Did you feel that you had the entire support of the military establishment, of whom you have been such a close associate and the guardian and the mentor? And B, what was your 4-point agenda on which you thought you could really turn the corner between India, Pakistan and Kashmir?
Well, first of all, let me correct you that I was prepared to go beyond the stated position, but not unilaterally, never unilaterally. It was to be, I was demanding from India, they also go beyond their stated positions. We have to meet somewhere midway for a solution. Secondly, your question about the military, certainly they were on board. These are propagandist thoughts projected around the world to malign Pakistan.
So if you come back to power, which many people are hoping that you would in 2013, then you feel that you will again have the military establishment backing you in your out-of-box solutions over Kashmir?
Military obeys whatever the government does. Now this is all a propaganda spread against Pakistan Army. It's a very disciplined force. They always back up the army, the government. So I'm very sure they will carry on backing up the government. So they are for peace, they are for resolution.
What was your four-point agenda for getting peace in Kashmir and a lasting solution? Because that would be dramatic for both countries.
Well, it's well known, I've been saying that, demilitarized, graduated demilitarization from the line of control and especially from the cities in your Indian-held Kashmir. Then is maximum self-governance to the Kashmiris. Then is Overwatch, a system of Overwatch with representatives, a commission with representatives from India, Pakistan and Kashmir. And making now the touchy point is the line of control. Making the line of control irrelevant, because Pakistan can never accept the finality of the line of control. And India has a problem with adjustment